You may have heard a lot about the hype around different crypto narratives and how they play into different peaks and troughs throughout the bull cycle. So in today's video, we're going to be checking out everything to do with various crypto narratives and how they're performing over time. But as always, before we jump into today's topic, make sure you drop a like on this video below. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already in order to stay up to date on everything in the crypto space and hit your crypto goals. So without further ado, let's jump into today's topic of crypto narratives. So throughout the entirety of 2023, we obviously had a lot of different crypto narratives that were taking up, part of the mind share. And this is CoinGecko's list of the top crypto narratives from 2023. Obviously, AI was leading the way with artificial intelligent narratives, largely driven by ChatGPT, I would say, and the prominence of OpenAI and ChatGPT and everything that kind of swept the internet since the beginning of 2023 and all throughout that entire year with ChatGPT and OpenAI. A lot of the AI sentiment picked up steam throughout 2023, and obviously that's evident with this chart here with it taking up most of the mind share. And I think AI will be one of the macro trends that kind of continues for the next 12 to 18 months as we enter the next bull cycle. But of course, interesting to see some other narratives that dominated the mind share, like GameFi. A lot of different gaming tokens and projects had great years in 2023. Some meme coins, we had the likes of Pepe having crazy pumps in 2023. So meme coins coming in with a lot of the mind share. Solana ecosystem, I think there's a lot of different layer 2s that are being built out on Solana that had a bit of prominence in 2023 being reflected here. And then some other stuff like BRC20s, real world assets, layer 1s, DeFi, layer 2s, kind of making up the middle share of different crypto narratives there. So why are narratives important? I mean, why are we even looking at this chart? Well, as we know, we're going to be entering a bit of a bull market after the Bitcoin halving in April of this year, 2024. And throughout the cycle of the macro bull market, each of these narratives will have their own day in the sun, let's call it. So each narrative will kind of have its own peak, and the coins and the tokens and the projects that are part of each narrative will have their own cycle peak at its own unique time. And I think we're going to look at some examples now in a moment, but what you want to be thinking about is, monitoring these different narratives and thinking about when those narratives are making a run and when the tokens in each of those narratives are going to peak in the next bull run. So let's look at a couple of examples here. Basically, if you're not already familiar with a lot of these narratives, this chart is a good breakdown of a lot of the kind of primary narratives and the different tokens and projects that are part of each of them. We're not going to go into this in great detail, but thinking about these projects and narratives, and obviously certain projects can be part of multiple narratives, but typically they will have one core narrative that is kind of driving price action when that narrative has a run. So we've obviously got our layer 1s, layer 2s, we've got DeFi, we've got artificial intelligence, we've got memes, we've got GameFi, we've got decentralized exchanges, we've got liquid staking derivatives, we've got real yield. So, there's a whole bunch of different narratives that will all have the spotlight at certain times throughout the course of the next bull run. And you want to be thinking strategically about, maybe getting in or out of positions in light of that to maximize your gains and maximize your return on investment. So we've got a breakdown of some examples here, and we're just going to look at one example here for DeFi blue chips. So what we can see here with we've got three examples. Obviously, these are a few samples from DeFi blue chips, but we're going to look at three charts in particular. So we've got Aave, Compound, and Maker. And the pattern here that we're basically trying to trying to show you is that each of these projects that are part of the DeFi blue chips narrative, each of these projects had their market peak at around the same time, which was in and around May of 2021. So you can see that the market peak for Aave occurred here around May of 2021. The market peak for Compound occurred around May of 2021. And the market peak of Maker obviously also occurred around the same time, May of 2021. And the point that we're making here is that Bitcoin didn't peak until about November, December of 2021. So the peak of these three projects, which are part of the DeFi kind of blue chip narrative, all had their peak around the same time of April, May 2021, which was about, 6-7 months before the Bitcoin all-time high in 2021. So again, thinking about your positions, thinking about the tokens and the assets in your portfolio, where are they peaking in their cycle, and is there trends that we can take advantage of when it comes to where these individual narratives tend to peak out? So that's one example, obviously, for DeFi blue chips. Another example we're going to look at is with the decentralized exchanges. And what we see here is a similar type of sentiment where, again, we've got Uniswap, SushiSwap, and Pancake mapped here as the three different dexes that we're going to take a look at. And we can see that all three of them, Uniswap, Sushi, and Cake for PancakeSwap, all had their individual all-time highs in about March, April of 2021. So about a month or two before the DeFi blue chips that we just looked at, the decentralized exchanges had their market peaks for their tokens that are unique to their dexes. So again, this was a market peak for each of these about 7 to 8 months before the Bitcoin all-time high in the same cycle. So once again, thinking about, being strategic with our digital asset holdings, where are our coins residing in terms of the different narratives that they're part of, and how can we take advantage of the narratives and the run-up associated with those narratives when it comes to price action. So just something to think about, something to keep monitoring. And one way that you can monitor this as well is with this particular site. So this is a resource, again, that's been curated by this guy Crypto Correo on Twitter, but it's an extremely useful resource, and I'll leave a link in the description below this video for this. But what this is basically he's using all of this data to map all of the different the performance of various narratives over the course of time. So basically, what we've got here in the first snapshot is the month-to-date performance comparative of all these different narratives. So this is for the past 30 days, obviously, and we can see the narratives that are performing better and making up or taking up more of the mind share at the moment for the past month of January, let's say. So, for example, we've got liquid staking derivatives that are up 19%, then DeFi 2.0 is up 15%, Oracle's 10%. We've got a whole bunch of examples here, and then we can obviously see the different narratives that are underperforming versus the rest of the market. We've got memes that have been underperforming. We've got GameFi that has been underperforming. DeFi 1.0 underperforming. Privacy, real world assets slightly underperforming. So again, this is another tool to add or to have in your arsenal in order to continuously monitor the performance of narratives over time. There's a huge amount of data on this particular page. This is the year-to-date performance of narratives. Again, because we're only 1 month into 2024, this is extremely similar to the chart above. But there's a whole bunch of information here for risk-adjusted return since 2023, and all the different narratives that have performed over the course of 2023. Volume per narrative. Liquid staking derivatives, memes, GameFi still making up a lot of the actual volume on a daily basis in terms of narratives. So I will leave a link to this in the description below, but I think the most important takeaway for this video is just to think about the narratives that your digital assets are a part of and how those narratives perform over time, and the different peaks that your narratives will have versus Bitcoin and the rest of the market when it comes to the, the micro cycle or the micro bullish sentiment around that narrative in the next macro bull run. So obviously a couple of examples here that we've shown where some of these narratives perfectly line up. It's not always going to be the case there. These are a couple of examples that are good examples that we were able to find to showcase. It's never going to sync up perfectly for every single narrative, but you can spot the trends and you can use this to your advantage to be able to get in and out of positions in a very efficient manner. So as always, if you enjoy these videos, please make sure to leave a thumbs up below. Make sure to hit the bell notification icon and make sure you are subscribed if you're not already. We will see you in the next one, and keep up to date on everything in this space.